And we are live. Season 6, Episode 5.
In the house.
Hello. In the house. Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the show.
Looks like we've got 5 people online, and I see already Chris from Walkabout Games. Hello, sir. If you're still here. I see before the show started, he started typing a comment. And so, how are you doing, Rusty?
Well, we be doing fine, considering all.
That's good.
It was a interesting, snowy 24 hours.
Oh. We don't have anything exceptional in that department going on.
Yeah, it was almost a thunder snow.
Thunder snow. Oh, like one of those massive storm things they were talking about?
Pouring rain with snow.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it was like we had pouring rain coming, just snow, raining buckets, and all of a sudden, just like that, it just started big giant flakes coming out.
Ooh.
And it was heavy. We had about 6 inches after the fact.
Man.
Of wet, heavy stuff. I was out shoveling today, and I was like, it was heavy. So it was like 50 pounds per shovel.
Looks like we got Mel Stryker in the house. Hello, sir. He says pretty much gone now, though. And we also have Brad, Lord Draconum, in the house. Hello, Brad.
Tired of rain and snow.
That's what Chris says, and he's out further west than me, so I think they do get a lot more rain. We don't get a ton of rain. We get more snow.
Yeah, we're right here where we're at in Des Moines is the mixing zone.
Yeah.
Go 30 miles to the north and they'll get more snow than we do. Yeah.
Looks like we got Dan Booman in the house. Evening, sir. Thanks for stopping by. I actually I prefer snow to freezing rain. When I was in Buffalo, New York, that was the worst. Waking up every day and getting hit in the face with freezing rain first thing in the morning. Not good.
Yeah, it was icy. We were up at the local game castle yesterday and then stepped out and I was like, whoa, icy. And then got home, and as soon as I got home, it was like within just on the way home, and all of a sudden just started coming down, snow and fun stuff.
Brad asks, how are you both? And I will say, fabulous.
Fabutastic.
How are you, Rusty, considering how you started the show before the show? Are you fabulous tonight?
I'm in pain.
Painfully fabulous. Literally.
Absolutely marvelous. Yeah, it's like after shoveling my sidewalk, my driveway, and everything, it was like I was watching my neighbor trying to use his snowblower, and it was like watching paste come out, and it was like, and then he'd stop, chip it out, and then go again. But it's like I got back spasms from the constant bending over today.
Not good.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we got Clark Stepp in the house. Hello, sir. Thanks for joining us.
He's stepping up the ranks.
Sorry?
Stepping up the ranks.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm not waiting to actually start doing stuff because I've got green stuff going, and I am basically using it before it hardens up. As I'm gap filling during the show tonight, during our topics and stuff, I'm working on those dragon ogres that I've shown already several times. But how are you doing, Rusty, as far as your hobbying and gaming and what you've been up to?
Hobby-wise, the board of completion is here.
Oh, right. Look at that.
Yeah, a lot of stuff done this week. I got 15 battle mechs finished.
Wow.
The Wolves Dragoons finished up the League of Votan. So I got these guys finished up.
Oh, wow. You've been productive. I wish I could say the same.
Yeah, it's like I got a wild hair and decided to finish these things up.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the jet bike pioneers are done. We got those. And then we have, if you haven't seen these, come over to my channel and you'll see a video of them. So,
Nice. They look good.
and then last but not least, the guy in exo armor.
Yes. Those are
which
cool.
is kind of interesting. Here's a space marine.
Oh yeah.
They are the same size as a space marine.
Wow.
And they're supposed to be squats. They're not squat.
Now, when you say space marine, though, you're not talking about the Primaris?
No, the supersized 35 mil guys. No.
No, because if they were, then you would see a significant difference. Probably what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah. I feel like the new space marines are supposed to be about that big, you know.
Yeah.
They bring
Space
everything up.
Marines.
Yeah, here's one of the wolf dragoons.
Oh, nice. They look good.
And then we got this like a timber wolf.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's those are what 10 mil?
Clan. Yeah, they're about 10 mil. Oh, I'm flickering again.
Yeah.
Let's see if this stop this. Oh, I'm pixelating. Oh no.
The audio is too, actually.
Yeah.
No static at all.
All right, so yeah, I think I may have to get a new Logitech, or else try it on the desktop, and sometime we'll do a test run and see if it's the problem with the Logitech thing, or is it just the laptop going crappy on us?
Right.
So that's that project. So I got those finished up, and now I'm starting on this one. I got this guy. This is the guy that I 3D printed.
Oh, nice. AdMech, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be.
So is that a Thanatar? Is it like a Thanatar?
Yeah, it's like a Thanatar.
Or is it a different kind of Thanatar?
It's a different kind. You know, it's like you got the plasma gun here.
Yeah.
There's the plasma gun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then here's the Mauler bolt cannon.
Okay. Cool.
So
it's huge.
Yeah. So
is it giving you a taste for the 3D printing? Are you like really interested in it?
I've gotten the green light, so it's like this is what he's gonna look like when he's put together.
Oh, sweet. What does gotten the green light mean?
I was talking to my wife, and she said the only caveat is that have to let the price come down, because she knows the price was lower.
Yeah. Right. You're just gonna need to get it at that price where it should be at.
Yeah. And then here I made a base for it.
Nice. That looks good.
Probably work on this guy tonight. And I'm printing NAVVC boats for the Mekong Delta. Ah.
And so, gaming wise, is it the last thing? Was the last thing the Battle Valor?
Well, okay. Let's bring that up to speed. The Battle Valor. 2 weeks ago, we had a game.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
I know that you weren't big on it, but was that the last one?
Yeah, that was the last one. And Mel and I kind of looked at each other and said, "We're done. We're just sick and tired of it." Where we spent more time flumbing through the book, going, "All right, where's that? Where's this mean? Or is it that kind of thing?" And we just said that we've done with it. It's just too bad, poorly written. If they come out with a new version of it with better written, we might go back to it. So we've been playing Dragon Rampant.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And so how did that go?
Well, we've done 3 games, and Mel can attest. It's intriguing. It's when you're not using, when movement really doesn't matter too much, for formation,
Mm-hmm.
when you're just moving your guys around, it becomes a chess match where you just keep moving around until someone fails a die roll and makes a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
and and then you capitalize on their mistake and tear them apart.
Well,
At least that's what we've come across. And archers are very powerful, but they can fail you to activate them.
well, and that's one of the hard things with Dragon Rampant in the current edition, because like Xenos Rampant, you have a lot more things that get free actions.
Yeah.
And they cost more, but you get a lot more free actions. Where Dragon Rampant, it still has that. But I actually found for the big battles where it's like, to me, Dragon Rampant feels more like a big battle game with less miniatures. But I found that having that random, not being able to activate and go into the other person's turn to be a good aspect of it. Like, I kind of liked it. You don't see it much. You don't see it as much in my experience. So, because I did play, and I'll talk about it later, but I did play a game of Xenos Rampant. Actually, my friend we used his image. Well, I'll talk about that later. But so you're thinking so far intrigued?
Yeah, it's like there are a couple games that we've had where you'll get your turn and you go through your entire army and you do everything with your entire army, and then you go, okay, back to you. And then they make one die roll and fail on their first one and go right back to you.
Yeah.
And then you activate half or 3/4 of your army and fail, then it goes back to them, and they'll make 1 or 2 die roll and fail. And it goes back to you, make 1 die roll, fail. It's like,
yeah. Well, that kind of makes it so it's not just you go, I go, right? Like, it kind of feels like there's a bit more of that chance of being in the game at any moment, which I like.
We come to find out that when you got the heavy archers or heavy missile troops, that you set them up someplace and everybody's like trying to maneuver around them.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, they got an 18-inch range. I'm going to stay outside of their 18-inch bubble.
So what's your musty drink tonight?
I'm going to drink Shackleton.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Which one is that? I don't know that I've seen that one today or yet.
I had it about this time last year. It's been a while.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, how come I don't remember
that? It's based off a blend of, let's just see, old rare Highland malt whiskey, spirit of supplied to the 1907 British Antarctic expedition.
Oh, and that's what the Shackleton name, because that was Shackleton, right? Yeah. Yep. Now I remember that. That sounded familiar. Yeah.
So it's you said it's blended whiskey closest to the actual whiskey that they took on the expedition.
Cool.
So very tasty.
Nice. Well, I have some things I suppose I can talk about before we kind of get onto our topic and our painting and stuff.
Smoke it. Little painting.
I haven't been painting really, which is unusual, but I've not been, and but I have been gaming. And I kind of said that on the last show too. I've been gaming a little bit. I've been struggling actually in being able to get to be able to meet up. How do I say this? My life and my work and like family and like my duties and things and stuff, whatever, has sort of prevented me from gaming as much as I would like to. But I still have a couple friends that like to get some games in. So I've been trying to do my best to still get some games in. And so I have actually played since the last show, 1 game of Dragon Rampant and Xenos Rampant and 1 game of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, which has been the main game that I've been playing. And so I did actually play again against Orcs and Goblins, and we've been since that's been sort of like a week, like a game occasionally after work. During the week, we just do about 1,000 points. We might try a little more in the future. Beastmen have been doing good in those games, but the Xenos rampant, like I was kind of starting to say, I played in a demo on that. One of my friends just kind of made up a demo with both sides of their miniatures, and that was interesting just to see how the rules would work. One of the things that we kind of realized, our first impression was, because vehicles are allowed in Xenos Rampant, vehicles are really powerful, and you have to sort of know how to deal with them. And you're only allowed over so many points one vehicle in a basic standard game. I can't see. I guess my first impression is I don't understand why anybody would ever not bring a vehicle, like seeing how they work. However, with some of the more seasoned players of the game, and what I've seen on Facebook is there are some units, like elite units, that maybe make more sense to take. And so there might be some situations where you wouldn't want to, but in general, it was interesting to try out. I don't really have a verdict yet. It was definitely interesting. I do like how they've expanded it over Dragon Rampant, but I think that there's a lot more to learn still. About it. It's too soon to make a verdict completely. Tonight I am just like I mentioned, I'm working on 3 of these guys, just putting green stuff on them. I've already started. Actually, I'll just zoom in here, but I've got my dragon ogres that I'm working on, and I'm just doing some green stuff of mold lines because they're old miniatures. And yeah, that's all I'm really working on tonight on the show. And then my musty drink is going to be
Glenlivet.
I've got a little bit here left, and that's kind of, it's going to have a little bit of this.
The blue box.
I suppose it was. You probably know.
Yeah, the blue box.
Yeah, this is Founders Reserve, American Oak Selection.
Established 1824.
That's right. Yeah, there you go. So that's the one. So before I pull up some more green stuff, I was thinking maybe I will just look real quick what we've got going on here. So I had Dan in the house. Let's see here. I'm printing, and so Chris says I'm printing and painting NVA VC boats for the Mekong Delta. That's what you're working on tonight. Awesome. Cheers.
Man, that is good. Very peaty. It's got vanilla, peat, and a little bit of citrus flavor. Well, a slight bit of apple. Yeah.
Dan says, I saw you posted a video today, Rusty. I will be watching that after the show.
Yeah. Yeah, it went up about 1 o'clock this morning.
The heavy missiles are devastating. If they activate, 4+ for hits is pretty hard hitting. Talking about the Dragon Rampant, right?
Yeah, you need a 7 to activate them, which means that you fail a lot. To get, but if somebody's in range and you activate them, you're going to tear somebody a new one.
Musty water is my musty drink. Musty water, is that like water collected from the basement?
Coming to a supermarket near you.
Right.
Straight from the air conditioner condenser, musty water.
Sounds like an old, like, Southern classic rock song. Musty water. Yeah.
See, it was sound like a CCR.
That's right. I've painted 144 6mm infantrymen from my Word of Blake Battletech force, and I'm working on 216 more. Very ambitious.
Was that an actual? Iron Wind infantry, or is that 3D printed ones? Questioning. Ah, Tim is in the house.
Tim's in the house. Hello, Tim. Thanks for joining in. Let's see.
3D printed. All right. That's the way to go. Make a lot of them. So where's couldn't find it afford. Yeah, you can't afford that many. The ones I do have, I picked them up at Gen Con, and I actually specifically ordered them to have delivered at Gen Con for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't ever get them. It's like, I know a guy that knows a guy.
Do you ever use clay shapers, Rusty?
I don't have any per se.
They have silicone tips.
Yeah, I've seen them around. I just never ordered them. The only thing I ever use is these like clay shapers from art class back in the day.
Those are for, yeah. Those are like the hard edge ones. Yeah.
Yep.
These are to take something like green stuff and just sort of really smooth it out without. It doesn't allow you to move it and ruin it or ruin like the total thing. It just allows you to smooth out the detail. I find them pretty good. I've had these forever. They really don't break. They haven't broken on me. They'll probably break tonight because I said that, but
Son of a sea biscuits, Batman. Yeah, I haven't used green stuff in a while. Not since Monday night.
I've already forgotten how to use it.
Yeah, it was this. I use it on this guy. I took green stuff and I put it in all the joints, and then get it to because each part, separate piece. So I put it green stuffed each piece together, and then I would set it up how I want it to pose, and then I squish it together, and then put some super glue in.
Yeah,
it's the only way.
I don't have that much to do on this. Really, there's two. It's nice when some of the joints are recessed, and so like when they go together, you actually don't see the seam. But I have two major areas that have seams on each one. So there's really 6 big kind of spots that I have to do, and I've already finished 2. So that's kind of good.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, crud.
I'm gonna. Do you rehydrate your green stuff when you're using it over time a bit? Like keep dipping in water and rubbing the water in and stuff?
Well, I'll keep my hands wet and everything. Yeah. Knead it together with water.
That's what I'm doing. Is just every time I let it sit for a bit, just sort of knead some more water in it. And, so our topic tonight is painting for a purpose, or versus painting purely for art. And I'm assuming this is meant to be in the context of miniature gaming, not like painting a house versus painting a painting, but I don't know. Like I thought that's kind of what it's meant to be as a miniature painter, painting for a purpose versus painting kind of like modeling, like where you just paint a bust and it's just mainly, the purpose is just purely art, like, display. Would that be correct? Is that the...
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. And so, for those of you that don't know, this is a blast from the past topic. We've actually had this topic on the show before, and we decided that we were going to start revisiting some old topics. We kind of randomly went through and just grabbed one. And so...
This one's what, about 4 or 5 years ago?
It's been a while. And so we're on season 6, and so it's between 3 and 4, I think, years old, this one. So this is like kind of mid to the later, or to the early, mid towards earlier shows. And so, Rusty, in today's day and age, in 2023, what is your thought this time on this topic?
To be honest, at this date, this last year, it's been painting for pleasure.
So really painting for art, like not as much just because you need it done.
Yeah, it's more of the artistic thing. Is I've had some projects that I had to do because they were commissions, but it was like drudgery. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I really don't want to do these things, but somebody's paying me to do them.
So
But
this is you're painting for Slanesh.
yes,
um, so when you think of when you say that now this year has been painting for pleasure, do you have particular projects in mind that you think of when you say that you're talking about that you did?
well, the well, if I ever get around to finishing these American Civil War guys, I'd say 100% those are pleasure because they're so far down the line before we probably do anything with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just doing it for the heck of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
This model right here, I don't need it, but I got it, and I'm just going to paint it just for the fun of it.
Right.
There's no reason to even have it, but I want to do it anyway. So
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
So since this is our only topic tonight, subtopics that come to mind, I might just hold off on bringing up for the second. But when you think of, okay, well, for me, right now, I'm mainly painting for purpose. I prefer actually to have little side projects at times that I paint to learn a skill,
Yeah.
to do or to highlight an area that I feel like I've learned and I feel good about. And it's not as much learning, but as much, even though you learn all the time, it's more like, oh, like I can get this piece and I can feel comfortable doing it now that I've actually practiced the skill. But when I did, within the last 2 years, I did that. It wasn't a bust, but it was a 54 millimeter woodland Indian where I not only painted it, but I kind of made that
Yeah. I remember
that
that
base with the clear water and everything. And like that was a pure pleasure project. And even that one I was learning, even though like I felt good with the painting, I was learning how to do the water effects. I'd never done the water effects before with that like that. And then this one here is staring at me here. It's probably going to be one of the soon next projects, but I'm working on the oil painting of the bust. And then I did do the oil painting of that giant to practice oils before doing this bust. It was more like a practice project. And it was sort of a learning pleasure-based project, even though I can use it in a game. But reality is right now I've been painting a lot to field Warhammer Fantasy miniatures and then also Marvel miniatures at times. And so it's been more like for a purpose. But yeah.
I would say that one bust I did of Jon Snow from Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I did that one. That was for pure pleasure because I was doing it for my daughter.
Right.
And to be honest, when I get a 3D printer, there'll be kind of that stuff going on for me.
Yeah. You'll be doing more of that.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. And I'll probably do more superhero style stuff, like that with Marvel Comics.
Mm-hmm.
I might throw in like a Batman or something, but
sure.
But overall, I'm more of a Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Now, historically, you've been more of a painter to field armies, right? Like in the last number of years, because you would paint fairly large numbers.
Yeah, definitely.
Across your table.
But lately, with our trend here, where we've been just picking up a rule set and using existing miniatures, there's really not much need to buy more miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife said that. She was like, I was looking at it's like the credit card. our credit card has gone down in the last 6 months. And I was like, why? It's like, because I haven't been buying hardly anything. So it's shown. It's like when you're not playing new games and you're just using existing stuff, and it's like, well, you save money.
Yeah. So
I like that idea.
I know we got some comments coming in, but I'm going to formally ask those that are in the chat right now if they could share whether they actually are primarily painting for the fun of it and just the art of it primarily right now, or whether they're painting more to field troops and things for games or a purpose, some other purpose, terrain or whatever. And then also, and then I'm going to have follow-up questions, but I'm just kind of curious. And then if you don't mind saying what it is that you're primarily working on that makes you say that, like your example. And it could even be the last year or two. It doesn't even have to be like right now. But like just in general, like if you had to characterize it, what would you say?
Yeah, what's motivating you right now?
I actually don't want to continue talking about it because I have like other topics of this around this I want to bring up, but I feel like I'm going to like jump the gun.
Say, Chris made a comment.
Yeah. Chris says, I'm painting to get room to move in my gaming room. Lots of laughs. My wife noticed our card went down as well, and I've been painting what I have mostly. And that can take a long time.
Yeah, I'd say most of us, we do have a pile of shame, or the lead pile that's piling up, or I should say the pewter pile. Yeah, it's like in my case, I could continue just to paint stuff for the sake of painting it. It has nothing to do with probably, it's like I got a ton of, like, say, dystopian wars. I got 4 navies, 5 navies I could just pull out of nowhere and just paint them just for the fun of it.
But like a lot of times passion projects, and I don't think this is universal across the board, but I interpret it as a lot of times when you do a passion project, it's not like a huge assembly line project.
Yeah.
Unless you have an old game or old set of miniatures, like could even be like old historical miniatures that you're not going to use, but you just like them so much that you feel like painting, and it's a large amount. But I find a lot of times it's a bust, it's a model, it's some sort of thing, that character model, like something that is confined.
Yeah, you look at, let's say, your Beastman army could be looked at 2 different ways. It could be the passion project, but lately you've been playing with them, so they've sort of moved into the project of using them in games.
You're absolutely right, and actually that's a really good example, because the last couple of years I've been painting them as a passion project, but now they've transformed into a using project. And so, and I always kind of hoped it made that transition, to in some ways in this case, and it's in particular,
nice. It's nice when you actually take something you've been just doing on the side for the longest time, and then suddenly, hey, I can actually use these.
Yeah. So we've got Brad says, I was painting to get things done, but I jump around to paint for fun. So that actually sounds like a Dr. Seuss line. So I I was painting to get things done, but I jump around to paint for fun. So I flip from one project to the next. So a little of both. I like to talk in Dr. Seuss myself, actually. People tell me sometimes I do that.
But if you've had any kids... I haven't done a Dr. Seuss rhyme since tonight, because I made potato soup, and my wife was talking to me, and I started going into a rhyme talking about the meal of the night. because I made potato soup for all of us tonight. And she just kind of looked at me and started shaking her head and was like, what?
Funny.
I said I could be doing dad jokes. And she was like, no, you're fine.
Stick with the Dr. Seuss, please.
Yes. Yeah. It's so many different things I could be looking at. But it goes right back to I would be using like the 3D printer. The primary purpose, I will be making an army with my 3D printer when I get it. And that will be like my Chaos Dwarf. I want to expand it out and actually build an army out of it. And then there's some cool miniatures, the Fallen Realms.
Mm-hmm.
I have some miniatures out of that. I want to expand my Tomb King's army, and I want to expand the Chaos Dwarf army. That's the two things I want to work on. But they do have a bunch of really cool dwarves, on bears and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see myself doing a whole bunch of bears, grizzly bear cavalry. So.
That would be really cool because it's one of those things that you don't just get to do typically, right?
Yeah, because there's really not many games that have them. So, but it would be cool to just make an army. It'd be a passion project. It wouldn't be for throwing on a tabletop because there's hardly any systems out there that would use them,
mm-hmm.
unless it's something that's off the wall type rules. I guess you could use them in, like say, Dragon Rampant or something.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what those kind of rule sets that are coming out that you can use anything is the key. Like you can use those kind of things anywhere. That's awesome. So Tim at Broken Dice says, in general, I paint to play, but the pleasure's always there. Painting Iberian infantry and cavalry for my solo wargaming project. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, like and actually using them in your games, your solo games that you've been doing, your campaign. There hasn't been a new one out. It's like there are times when I will go through my feed on my YouTube feed, and it's like I miss videos where I don't see them pop in because a video will come in on a certain day, and then you have like 20 different videos pop in, and you're like, you miss it. So if you have a new video out since the last one you had, let me know. I'll go look for it.
I've been so bad at watching YouTube. I feel bad when people come on the show, but I'm not really putting videos out either, so it's not even like a tit for that tat thing, or whatever. But yeah, I haven't been on YouTube nearly as much as I used to be, unless it's looking at motorcycle stuff. I just have to put that out there. I'm honest, but
I haven't watched a motorcycle video since today.
Yeah, exactly. So Dan Booman at Dan Booman says, I definitely just paint for pleasure since I don't play games that often. I just paint what I enjoy. The Bretonians have been a passion project. Yeah, I could definitely see that. And in a lot of ways, for me, like the Beastmen have been very similar when I was in that stage, like Rusty said, when I wasn't playing. But yeah, no, you actually like put in a lot of time for each figure, it seems like.
Yeah, those are pretty amazing when you look at them. Is that when you spend as much time on one figure as I probably spend on a unit, that it shows.
Yeah.
And anymore, another, a big passion project for me anymore is like the 40K stuff I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Mechanicum army.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's like I have an entire 30K army built, and I just keep adding to it every once in a while. Get something new and add to it.
Right.
And I don't know if I'll ever get to play the 30K game, Dark Heresy at all.
But it's something that you really enjoy the lore and the look of the models. And
Yeah.
I actually am kind of there with you on that. I never broke down and bought it, but I can't tell you how much time I've looked at Forge World wanting to buy that stuff.
Yeah, the Forge World models are so nice compared to the regular 40K stuff.
Yeah.
And the one thing I always liked about the Mechanicum army is that it's unique. It's different. It feels like a Xenos army, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, and if you like to read the books with it, which I do, like the Mechanicum is one of my favorite areas to read about in 40K. And if you like to read the books, then those models just kind of really jump out at you. I mean, like, because they're so cool, and they really do. They're not goofy, and that's the thing. Is like a lot of times science fiction stuff. And don't get me wrong, like I like certain kind of goofy, like I like the Old Hammer stuff, but these guys just really look like the books. It just really invokes the same emotion of the books, like the level of the models on those, I think.
Yeah, they do.
Chris at Walkabout Games says, I can't just do one project at a time. I need to move around. Yeah.
Oh yeah, variety is the spice of life. That's the one thing I have learned is like when I'm painting something. For the longest time, my was it Blood and Plunder miniatures were sitting in the back row. He's like, "You're ever going to work on them?" Well, they get worked on. It's just every once in a while I put something on. It just doesn't show a lot of progress. But there's always something. It's like I'll have 2 or 3 projects going at one time. One's getting, let's say, 75% of the time. Another's getting 20, and then another one's getting 5% or something.
Do you mean somebody actually had the gall to get into your business about that and just didn't mind their own business? They had to talk about them sitting on your counter?
Yeah, I don't know who would do that, but... who was that?
I think that's pretty cheeky. Tim at Broken Dice says, I guess my passion project would have been 2 old Warhammer characters. Ooh, that he left off on. Who do you think they are?
Oh, he was doing those 2. There was a was it Kislev character, I think.
Nice.
Which brings us back to the old topic of the old world. Is it coming back, or are they just stringing us along?
See, you can interpret this topic a lot of different ways, and you can say, well, I enjoy everything I'm doing with painting, so they're all passion projects. But my definition of a passion project is something like, and this is just me, like this is not like your definition, but my definition is, am I doing it because I'm purely wanting to learn something and it's not actually functionally helping me in my wargaming? Like it's not something that I'm purely doing, but I'm picking up a new technique and I'm enjoying it and I'm actually just delving into it and it's a project, but it has really nothing to do for the most part with fielding anything. Or am I doing it because I purely want to do it and I'm excited about it and it's like a piece, a sculpture, whether it be miniature or not, like model, that I'm doing because I purely just want to paint it, but it has nothing to do with the game. And because of that, I elevate it into the status of a passion project. Even if I'm passionate about the miniatures I'm painting, if there's another reason for me to do them that is conflicting with that is not making it so it's purely that, then I kind of view it as not a passion project. And yeah, I don't know. That's just the way I kind of view it. But that's also, you could like look at a core game and make your own definition, and that doesn't mean it's somebody else's definition.
Yeah. No, there's always something to be used, or that didn't work out so great.
Dan Booman says, I've been painting miniatures for my Soviets that I will likely not use in a game, but I like the minis. Yeah, I think that for me, that would constitute as a passion project with my definition. But if you're doing it because you just like it, but it's not like you don't feel like you need to, you don't have plans, like, and you need to do it for another reason or whatever. So this is one of the topics that I wanted to bring up too, as we're going through these old ones. Going through these old ones. Sorry, guys. As we're going through these new posts that we haven't, I just called them the old ones. If we're going through these new posts that we haven't gotten to yet that are still on the old question, another thing is, do you find that passion projects and like painting for the art or for pure pleasure is a stronger, you have a stronger lean towards that when you actually like painting? Now, I hate to say it, but there is, like, among miniature wargamers, and I know the Rope's not in the room tonight, but he was like, or at least he's not talking. There's 10 people here. Maybe he's listening and doing something else, but he's not introduced himself yet. He is somebody that's openly said, like, I don't really like to paint that much. Like, I'm more of a gamer. And so we know that there are folks out there that like painting more than others. And is it potentially true that the more you like to paint, the more you could be lured into a pure art passion project? You know what I'm saying? Because you just like to paint. And I think the more you like to paint, the more you might see the value in that kind of project. And if the more the painting's a necessary evil to get the game going and like to get to what you really want to do, which is the gaming, then maybe it's less of a topic for consideration. Is that fair, or is that?
Well, let's say you want to start a new game and try to motivate your fellow players to play the game, and you do all the work and assemble everything, paint everything. But they never played. Does that constitute a passion project, or is that a purely painting for motivational purposes?
Mm.
So that's the question.
True. Could be looked at that way. It could be a gaming passion project.
Yeah.
It could be. See, to me, that's more like what is that called? Hail Mary. Hopefully they play this project.
Will they come out of the woodwork and play today, or are they just gonna say, don't feel like playing? Which I've suffered from many times, is trying to get a certain individual to play.
Right.
That refuse to. Or they would say, yeah, that sounds interesting, get around to it, and then you get the stuff, set it together, and then you go, I don't feel like it. Oh, thank you. I just spent all this money on something.
Chris says, I have old Grenadier Dwarf Bear Cavalry.
The Bears.
Clark says, I like the 40K models. I've decided as money allows that I'll buy used or discounted 40K Black Templars. I like their style and their allure and their combat stuff. I may never play 40K, but it is for fun. That's kind of like a passion project.
Yeah.
Or is a passion project.
Yeah, that's one thing I do have to give. And that's the one thing that Games Workshop has said over the years, is that most of our people that buy our stuff are just projects. They don't play the games.
I always found that interesting. I guess as somebody that came to it for the game,
yeah,
I never thought of it as just models, like just to paint them. But I guess for people that never were interested in playing the game, that kind of like painting models, that makes total sense.
Yeah, you look at the number of people that have won the Golden Demon Award. That it's like, well, do you play the game? No. I don't have that kind of money.
Well, it's also time too. Like you almost wonder whether, in order to, some of that level of painting is quite amazing, and you just wonder whether, statistically speaking, I know people that have won that Duke game, but you almost wonder whether, statistically speaking, the people that are going to put the time in to paint at that level, a large percentage of them aren't playing anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's fair or not, but I know definitely of people that have won the Golden Demon that play as well. But
yeah, when went to one of their last games days they had that was in Chicago, we went and seeing all these things on parade, armies on parade, and all the Golden Demon choices, and it was kind of cool seeing everything. And it's like, oh, that looks pretty good. And it's like, and you look at some of it, you know what? I've done better than that. But when you do look at some, it's like, oh, that's probably going to be the winner. And it ends up being the winner because it's like a step above everything.
Mm-hmm. I think it would be really cool to go to one of those. I've never been to one of those before.
Yeah, I don't think they do them anymore. It's been, I think that last one I went to.
They still do the Golden Demon though, right?
Yeah, they do the Golden Demon, but I don't think they have a game day anymore.
That's kind of what I was thinking, is the show where they do the Golden Demon and then the armies on parade and stuff and all that stuff. Chris says, my wife got me a bunch of the new Blood and Plunder. It's on the way, and I am excited.
Yeah, I got a bunch of Blood and Plunder stuff that still need to finish painting.
You? Needing to paint Blood and Plunder?
Yeah. Well, it was the last Kickstarter they did. I had stuff from the last Kickstarter that I need to finish.
Did you get the boats? Like one of the boats?
Yeah, I got a boat. I got one of the ships.
I thought I saw you. But did you get one from the last Kickstarter? I thought I saw you build one of those, and I seem to remember that.
Yeah, the Tarkania, HMS Tarkania.
Mm-hmm.
Named it after my daughter. That was her online name, was Tarkania. It's a not a brig, sloop. It was a sloop.
By the way, I did actually come up with a really good joke that I still am laughing at from my last game this week. One of the goblin characters' name was Sticky. And when my chieftain killed him, I had said, we're going to be having sticky ribs tonight. And that actually, that just came out. And we both got a big laugh at that. And I think I'm never going to forget that, actually. That was funny.
Sticky ribs.
Well,
just don't start with the sticky buns.
It's true. You don't want to start there. My passion project has been a lot of NAM. That's Chris. Yes, that makes sense. I've seen you've been doing a lot of that.
Are yours in 15 mil or is that the 28? I can't remember. For the NAM project.
I got a question for you. I know you just asked a question, but live here, do you think that, let's see here. So this is the guy here.
Yep.
Do you think that this shield looks too big?
No.
I'll turn him front-wise too here. Let me see if I can turn him front-wise. Oh, gosh.
Bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks fine.
I'm going to turn him a little bit.
You think about let's say...
Like that. Do you see that there?
Yeah.
Does it look good?
Yeah.
Because I want to give him a shield.
A shield is supposed to block a lot of your body from being hit.
Yeah.
And for him, it looks big, but it's not, when you compare it to, it's only a quarter the size of his body.
Yeah. Well, I actually ended up 3D printing that one. Looks like we got Wisdom Design in the house. Hello. I'm not sure we've seen you on the show before, and thanks for joining in, at least for the comments and things. Yes. We've got a bunch of questions that have gone out to everybody because our topic tonight is, again, for people that might have just tuned in, painting for a purpose, such as a game, fielding your troops, filling out your armies, or painting as a passion project or for an art form, or just to learn a new skill, like all of that wrapped in one. And how much do you do of both? So, oh, hang on. I missed one here. Tim says, Boris the Mad Tsar and an Electric Count of Ostland. Next up is the Electric Count of Hoshland. That sounds awesome. Definitely sounds like a good passion project.
Yeah, it's probably those ones of miniatures that I remember from way back in the day. Heck, I might have a few of them for my Empire army.
Mm-hmm. Clark says, I would love to play 40K, but I need a group to play with. There are a few friends who have played. We just haven't gotten a game going. Yeah. That is always a tough thing.
Yeah, when you think about it, Warhammer's kind of burned up my group from wanting to play it, especially last edition or two that's came out. No one wants to play 8th or 9th edition.
Chris says 28 mil. What was that question again from?
For the NAM, his NAM project. So those boats are going to be fairly big. Those riverine boats that you picked up, those will be pretty big.
Chris says, I just received my pre-order for Rubicon, U.S. Army, and NVA plastic infantry. Cool.
Yeah, Rubicon it's like my only experience is seeing the vehicles, Rubicon vehicles, for World War II and stuff, for people using them in bolt action.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't picked any up myself, but I could see myself getting some if necessary. Mostly that was looking at the Russian stuff for my North Koreans. And say, how long is one of those boats for the game? They're about 12 inches long or so. Wow. This stuff is opened up. It's getting sweet.
Oh, let me get back here. I'm still in solo. Sorry about that, Rusty. One of the things when you're painting or modeling while you're hosting a show is you can lose sight of what you're supposed to be doing. Clark says, shields look good. Shield looks good. Thank you very much, because I've now committed to it. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Well, you think about a shield will cover at least a quarter to a half of the body.
Mm-hmm.
And those things look about half the body. That one shield covers about half the body to between a quarter and half, somewhere in there. It's nice size.
Yeah.
And while you were doing all that, I put a wash on my miniature, this big guy.
Uh-huh.
So a wash on it. Did some work on the base. I'll just wait for that to dry. And now I suppose I could finish. One of these days, I'm going to finish this thermal detonator.
That's right. The thermal detonator.
It's almost done. I just need to do some little cleanup on it, I think, and I'll call it good. Now, question. The guy, there's some BattleTech people in here. All right, you see the hatches? Let me see. Right there, where my finger is. Right there.
I see it. Yeah.
I'm wondering if
I'm not a BattleTech guy, but
well, they're louvered style doors. I'm thinking of making them metallic. People would think of that. So, in the comments below, let me know if you think I should put louvered, metallic louvered doors, or just leave them this brown color, match them.
So, Risdom says, I do not play, but I like painting the Warhammer and other minis that I have. And that's, we were just talking before you, at least before you started commenting about that, how that's a lot of people. I mean, like they were saying how with the Warhammer stuff that most of the modeling sales are by people that are just into the painting and stuff. Not something that I was that familiar with, just because I've always came to the game from a playing standpoint initially, but I've kind of landed in that space at times where I'm more just painting things for fun. And even models to some degree, but lately I've been fielding stuff to play, and so I'm kind of hopping around all over.
Yeah, there's, to be honest, most of the not BattleTech stuff, but Warhammer stuff has all fallen into the pleasure projects. I don't see us playing any type of Warhammer. Maybe Warhammer Fantasy possible, but if it's like Stryker's brother was talking with him, and he says the only time I want to play any Warhammer stuff for 40K is Epic.
Mm-hmm. And I actually like Epic, yeah.
Epic was our passion in the beginning. We used to play Epic all the time. And let's see, we got 1, 2, 3. Got 3 votes going with metallic.
Chris says his boats are mostly 148. Same with the helicopters. And Dan says Rubicon just released a Huey for NAM that looks sweet.
Yeah, I have a 148 scale helicopter, Huey helicopter. It's sitting. Oh, you can see it right there.
I'll expand here.
You can see it right back there.
I could see a gray thing on top of what looks like a speaker or a computer. Is that it?
Yeah, that's on top of the computer. Get to the chopper. We watched Expendables last night.
Ah.
And it was the third movie, and then you got Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, "Get to the chopper, get to the chopper." So I love those movies where they just taken all the lines from all of their action movies and just throw it into one.
Huh.
Have you watched any of those?
I've never seen any of them. I've always known about them, but I've never watched it.
Oh, they're hilarious. There's the one where the second movie you had Chuck Norris. You know, they're in the middle of they're surrounded by an enemy force, and it's like, oh, we're gonna die. We got to fight our way out. And it's like, oh, we're out of ammo, and all of a sudden you just see gunfire coming from everywhere, rockets blowing up tanks and everything, and they're going, who is it? Who are these guys? Where'd they come from? And they're just floating around. All of a sudden, you hear the music, comes out of nowhere, and here comes Chuck Norris come rolling out of the smoke, walking towards him. He's like, man, I thought you were dead. Yeah, it's a long story. It was really bad. I got bit by a king cobra. I was like, yeah. It was a miserable 7 days. And then Cobra died.
Yeah.
They were making fun of all the Chuck Norris stuff that they always go on and on about. I was like, man, my wife loves them also.
Yeah, I have to check it out sometime. I don't know why I've never watched it. I just never have.
Yeah, there's supposed to be, somebody might put in the comments down below. There's supposed to be a number 4 coming out. I don't know if it's this year or next year. I can't remember. All right. So I'm going to go with we talked the river monitor is 16 inches long. That's a pretty big piece of equipment. But then the whole fun is making a river where you get a so I'm going to go metallic on these guys.
Brad says metallic's a good idea. We'll give it some more color. It's almost as that was an old comment, but it's almost as if he just answered you. Yeah. And then Dan says metallic. Chris says I mostly paint. I'm assuming based on painting versus gaming.
Yeah, I think any hobby is like you get one afternoon of, you might get 3-4 hours if you're lucky to play, and then the rest of the time, free time you got is painting.
Mm-hmm. Mel says keep them the same as they would more than likely be heat shields.
Talking about your the shield for your dragon ogres.
Is that what he's talking about? Because keep them the same because they more than likely be heat shield. Not your thing.
Oh, maybe it is. I don't know.
I was like, that's pretty specific. It's like, you know a lot about dragon ogres. Let's see. Chris says metallic. And Epic was my favorite. I'm looking for the Huey Hog gunship. Yes, they started filming number 4.
Oh, the dropship. Okay. Too late. I'm already painted it silver. Yeah.
They're fire arrows. Bring out the heat shields. So what I've done, I think I've showed this already, but what I've done, because it is Warhammer Fantasy, and I do use a lot of monopose, so it's not that I'm totally worried about monopose, but somebody said to me once that the thing about this sculpt is that it's, very monopose, and so when you put them together and they're that big, it can look a little odd or whatever. I think it's just a matter of opinion, but this is the stock sculpt. I have all the parts to make 3 stock sculpts. It wasn't because I didn't have them. But so I have the stock sculpt, guy with an axe kind of raising his fist. That's basically it.
Yep.
I have the sculpt where I had a regular arm with an axe, but also a damaged one. So I took the damaged one just to make him different. I still own the other one. I gave him a big mace that I did 3D printing, so he looks different. Just add some different to the unit. And then I took another stock sculpt, and the only thing I did is I just, with your guys' help, I gave him a shield. And so he actually has the shield, and just looks a little bit different, from that. Add a little bit of variety.
So, yeah, you took 3 stock sculpts and turned them into 3 different unique ones.
Well, just slightly variety. Just slight variety, just to make the unit, just make it a little more interesting, maybe.
Yeah, but the eye will see the difference.
Yeah.
When they're sitting next to each other, ranked up, there's going to be a different look for it.
Yeah. That's the idea. So, My rivers are clear plastic with underside painted in browns to show depth. Then I add scatter to the edges to blend in.
Is like clear acrylic like plexiglass, or is it something you actually poured and made? Because when you think of the Mekong River, it was just a brown, muddy mess.
So I don't know how much we've finished with this topic, but I throw this out there, Rusty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So clearly, I think there's a passion project. There's a definition of it that we do because we like to, for a variety of reasons, just do that. Like instead of just painting something to do for wargaming, like that we need. But how much in our painting? This is related, but not directly related. How much in our painting do you think there's the feeling of whatever we're not painting that we're kind of interested in, the grass is always greener than what we've committed to and now we have in front of us? Like, because like you stare at the same stuff and you like it and you're drawn to it, but then sometimes whatever it is you're also interested in just seems that much more interesting to paint the moment you're painting something else.
Yeah, it's in kind of what I call the goldfish syndrome.
Why do you call it that?
Our attention span is the attention span of a goldfish seeing a shiny thing.
Oh, okay.
And every time you see something new, it's like, oh, shiny thing, cool. I'd like to do that.
Right.
And I think we all suffer from that in some way.
Like squirrel.
Yeah. Squirrel. I haven't said that since today. My brother-in-law sent a picture of his house. It was all nice and snowy with everything in the trees. And I was like, but you could see one squirrel. And I was like, squirrel. Mm-hmm. And he was like, how'd you notice that? I'm a hunter. Food. I see the food. Squirrel soup. But yeah, I think, we always suffer in some ways of always wanting something new and shiny. Like a new car, new game, new truck, whatever it may be, new Rolex. Mm-hmm. We're always attracted to having something new and improved. As a society, we suffer from that.
That's true.
Yeah, but
it's like
lately, though, I've come to the conclusion I got enough new shiny stuff, and I would like to maybe use some of my old stuff that's still just as shiny, but with new shiny rules. Oh, man, that's good. That is tasty.
Yes, indeed.
If you can find a bottle of this, you might like it.
Well, it's Shackleton, and that was Scotch?
Yes.
I'm just seeing right now whether that's possible.
Imagine they have it. It's not expensive either.
At whiskeymarketplace.ca, so that's Canada, they have Shackleton's Whiskey, McKinley's Rare Old Highland Malt.
Yep, that'd be it. How much is
then
it?
It says, check availability, where to buy. Oh. Yeah, no, it's not clear that I can get it there. That happens a lot, right? Well, there's dutyfree.ca. And then it says Shackleton Whiskey, and that's $54.95 Canadian. So you're thinking like $40 US. Pre-order.
I think I paid maybe 25 or 30 for it.
Okay. This is probably the same thing. It's oh, I'm not sure what size that is.
750.
I can't see it, but it says it's out of stock anyway.
Wow. I might have to buy myself another bottle or two. And if I do come visit, I have to
There you
get you a
go.
bottle.
So here, Shackleton Blended Malt Scotch Whiskey at snappydelivery.ca has a 750 ml bottle for $57.50. So that's probably less. That's probably
Be about 40.
I don't know.
It'd be about 40.
Yeah, I think it's about 40. Yeah. So I could get it there. Yeah.
There must be a high tariff on stuff from Scotland.
Yeah, it could be.
Because I know that when the Isles went to when they did Brexit, things went up a lot. Didn't affect us here in the States, but I know that costs a lot of. There's it's like shaving stuff. Guys, it's like, we can't get it from Europe. They got all kinds of shaving equipment they can't get to in Britain. They can't get it from, let's say, Czechoslovakia. Cannot be imported, but I can get it here in the United States for like $8-10, which is crazy. It's like,
well, it looks like Chris's last comment was vapor barrier sheeting. I don't know if I said that, but I think that's related to the rivers he's talking about.
So there's the new improved.
Let's see. There you go.
Added some
fire shields.
Yeah. I think they're supposed to be the mech bays, louvered mech bays. So where the mech comes out.
Right.
Which is bigger than the dropship.
What was the name of the Star Wars orb thing again?
This thing?
Yeah, what was the name of it when Princess Leia had that? The thermal detonator, right?
Yeah, thermal detonator. Oh no, she's got a thermal detonator. Her thumb's on the button. Then there was the target little drone that Luke was starting to fight. It was moving around, shooting lasers.
So there are people that have 3D prints for that.
For thermal detonator?
Yeah, you could do a 3D print. I figured with all the cosplay that goes on that they'd have to be.
Oh yeah. There's just stuff being. Where are you looking at? Did you see those?
Well, I actually Googled it, but they have it at Cults. Well, they have it at Cults 3D. Cults? Yeah, they have it at. I see it at Yegi, Etsy, Cults 3D. I see a lot of the actual prints, printables.
Brad shared with me the other night was some stuff from the Cults, was BattleTech miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were MechWarrior Online designs.
The dropship looks nice, says Brad.
Yeah. And there's got to be a STL for a dropship, and then if I did, I could probably print a bigger one. This will end up becoming a dropship for taking out elementals. An elemental dropship. So vapor barrier sheeting. I'm trying to place that stuff, what it looks like.
Oh, it's just like a cloudy, thick plastic sheeting that you have over your that you put over your insulation. Or actually, I shouldn't say that. I think you're supposed to actually have it against the exterior structure, and then you put your insulation. No. It's supposed to be over the insulation. Actually, I saw somebody that installed it wrong, I believe, when you actually have it against the actual wall, roof, or whatever it is, exterior wall itself. I believe it's actually supposed to be closer to you, covering up the insulation. But when I did my cabin, I had to do all that.
You did it yourself?
That part, yeah. No, I did that part myself. All the insulation, vapor barrier, did myself. It's just that it was over 10 years ago. Yeah, no, I mean, we had the actual outside structure done for us, and I had electrical done for me and plumbing and stuff, but all the inside walls, all the insulation, vapor barrier, flooring, stairs, like there was a lot that I did myself. Actually, my wife and I did that. So
yeah, there's the basement here that you can see. That's all my handiwork there. But yeah, when we had the house, we had somebody do all the siding and windows and stuff with our house. Cost a pretty penny. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have had a new motorcycle already.
Brad says lots of cool STL files. I think I found STL files for dropships.
That'd be fine. That would be interesting. If you find something really cool and you can't wait to share it, you can always put it on the Musty Wargamers.
This is true.
Because I'd be willing to look, because I'm into that.
Chris says, got the river idea from Viv at Knights of Dice.
Viv at Knights of Dice.
Yeah, he's a longtime YouTuber. He hasn't been around as much lately, but he actually had his own channel, Rubbish In and Rubbish Out, and then he also has his company, Knights of Dice, and he does terrain and stuff that he sells as a company. Yeah, he's been around for a long time as far as like even doing teaching videos on YouTube for terrain.
It's like when you're talking about Rubbish In, Rubbish Out, that sounds familiar. Thank you.
Yeah, because he's had it. He doesn't use that channel much anymore, but that was his first channel.
Yeah,
I think that was his first. That was the first I'm aware of. But he's in Australia, I believe.
Okay. Well, I always get somebody on my channel. You know, they'll mention something about BattleTech or this channel. It's like, and they'll start talking about it, and it's like, who? Like, you never heard of that person? No. There's thousands of channels. Like, sorry.
Yeah, I know a lot of the older channels more than the newer stuff, just because I don't watch as much YouTube anymore. But
exactly, that's the thing, is that there's so many new channels that it just can't keep up.
I actually think when you've been around on YouTube for a while, it's kind of sad when there were channels that were used to watch all the time and then they completely disappeared and they're completely gone. You know, like, and it's just like, you know, you're just like, when you like that channel, it's kind of like, but that's just kind of it's the way of things. People could say that about my channel, although I was never that big, but I don't, do much. But I guess I'm still here, so people do. It's not like you're disappeared, you know.
Yeah, it's. I'm putting out at least a video a week. It's not like I'm putting out a lot of content, but I haven't disappeared per se. But I'm not as active as I was, like, say, 3 years ago.
Yeah. Chris says, known Viv for a very long time. Great guy. Viv also used to run Battle Bunker, which Battle Bunker I thought was his physical store, but I could be wrong. I didn't think it was a YouTube channel, but maybe it was. I'm not sure. I remember it being referred to as a physical store, his original store, I thought. Like before this Knights of Dice business.
Battle Bunker. Online store.
Excuse me. Whether it had an online presence or not, I don't know. I'm not that familiar with it, but I thought it was a brick and mortar location. It says was his store.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that a lot of the brick and mortar stores that used to be really big 10 years ago are gone. A lot of them are gone now.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. But it's hard to keep up with brick and mortar, unless you're doing a lot of comics and card games.
Yeah.
Regular board games and just games and a lot are not going to keep you busy.
Got Mini Warmut in the house.
Howdy.
Hey, all, very late. I'll definitely rewatch what I've missed. Painting Warlord Games, Gauls, which are Germanics, which are Celtics too. Haha. Awesome. I know I haven't been on YouTube that much recently, but I know that I have seen some stuff come up, Zombicide, lots of that stuff that you've been doing, which is really cool.
I just watched a video the other day. I would comment, but I watch on my iPad. I can't comment when I'm watching anything on my iPad. So I'll be working on something. I've watched a lot of videos in the last week when I was working on these miniatures over here, trying to get them all done. And it's like watch video after video, but I can't comment at all. I did notice that you had something. Was it what the heck was it? Maybe it was a Zombicide.
It says my brick and mortar lasted 6 years. I remember you said that you had a store. Yes, Mini Warmut says, yes, I'm a Zombicide freak and proud of it. I actually like Zombicide. I only have the I do have what is it? One of the sequel games, but that's not called Zombicide. It's Massive Darkness, the first edition of that. And then I have Zombicide Black Plague. Those are the two that I have. And me and my family have played a ton of that Zombicide. We've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you were saying, what was it, about 5 years ago? You guys were pretty active doing that, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and we've played consistently over that time. The last couple of years we haven't played as much, but it seems like I don't know if it's been. I've lost track of time. It's like I don't even know, but it seems that's about right, probably.
Yeah, my wife and I were talking last night about. Well, yeah, this last summer we had we got the new windows and siding put on, and she was like, "You sure? Was that last year?" And I was like, we sit there thinking, "Oh my God, no, that was 2 years ago." And we're like, "Oh my God, that's like time has flown." You totally lost track of time because nothing has happened that's news. I haven't traveled anywhere. Right. I haven't taken a vacation since 2019 is the last time I went anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well,
all right.
It says, just wait, those Zombicide minis will be in some agnostic games soon. That's awesome for that. They're that's why those games are great, to be able to use what you need, whatever you have. Brad says, I have Black Plague and the regular version. Tempted to get the superhero one. Yep. I actually I know somebody that got the superhero one. They seem to be really cool looking miniatures. Oh, cool. Massive Darkness can be used for Zombicide with the crossover kit. Yeah, I actually think I have that. I think I actually have, because I actually I got some of the expanded stuff through somebody. I bought somebody's Kickstarter, and I actually got some of that stuff, and so it is pretty cool. Why don't you show that again there, Rusty? It was Gavin. Very nice. That looks awesome.
I got all the silver done. I just dry brushed it, so I got everything. So now I'm going to go and put in some brass and everything.
Nice.
And then it will be red. Anakin red.
When Zombicide came out, we did campaigns, says Chris. Almost jumped in on the Marvel Zombies Kickstarter. Just way too much money. I'll wait for retail on the core set. Yeah, I can understand that. It really does. Mean looking machine. It really does add up. And, you know, I kind of weigh out how much I use things versus, like, I use the Zombicide Black Plague a lot more than the Massive Darkness. And I like the Massive Darkness, don't get me wrong, but we kind of still weren't finished with the Black Plague, and we still have stuff we can do. Like, we have some of the expansions and things. We still haven't played everything. And so I always ask myself, like, the shine of the new thing and whether I'm really going to use it. And that's an internal battle.
Did you paint your Zombicide miniatures?
Never did. I've always kind of thought I'd like to one day, and particularly since how much we played it. I think that would be like a passion project, not even to just, because most of our playing, like my kids are getting to the point where they're both going to, well, one of them's in college and one of them's, you know, like taking college classes and is going to be going away pretty soon to college. And then the other is in her last, she's got one more year left of high school. So I actually don't, I think my playing days with my family, I mean, because it's less and less now is going to be the case. And so probably one day I'll paint it as sort of like an in memory of, you know, like.
So your oldest is now in college?
Well, she actually worked a good part of the year and took some courses, and she's taken some like calculus and some things, but she's going to be likely going away next fall.
Okay. So she's a senior taking college classes.
No, actually, it's just one of those things where she wasn't sure kind of what she wanted to do yet. So she's spent some time just working this year and then taking, she upgraded because she never did actually go far with her chemistry with what she wants to do. She needs to take more chemistry, like even though it's not a college level. And so she upgraded her chemistry, and then she's taken some college level like calculus classes and things like that while she's working. And then next year, next fall, like she's looking at going in the dorm and going away from home. So, and then my youngest is still in high school, but is going into senior year.
Okay.
So
she's a junior now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say my daughter, she graduated high school with a 2-year college degree.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
Yeah. So she got a dual major engineer, and well, she had mechanical and physical and construction engineer. She graduated from college within 3 years.
Cool.
Which is normally like 5-year degree. She did it in 3 years.
Yeah. Nice.
And right now she's the project manager for putting the buildings up for Google.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. Facebook and Google type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because the local construction company does the projects, and she's like, oh, she's 25 and she's a project manager, which usually doesn't happen until you're in your mid 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
Already doing it is like, oh my gosh.
Nice.
But it helps when she's a brainiac.
Yeah. Proud dad.
Yeah. Like the largest high school in Iowa, she was the valedictorian of it.
Pretty impressive.
Yep. Which was kind of hard. When she was in 10th grade, she was asking dad help with her her calculus and chemistry and stuff. And I was like, you know, you're outpacing me even. So
there's a saying in Iowa now, when like you're a complete brainiac, they're like, are you some kind of Gronwald?
Well, there's a lot of people that know us. Are you one of those crazy guys that goes across the line and breaches the wire? It's like, no, those are my other crazy brothers. I'm the one that's in the tank shooting over the wire.
Yeah. Well, I'm quite proud of my kids. They've done really well in school. Both of them basically doing really well.
Pour myself a little bit more of this is good. God, how good this is.
And so, but at the same time, one of them kind of knows pretty much what she wants to do. Well, I mean, she has a good idea of a couple of options that she really likes, and she's kind of going towards the sciences now. And then the other one is still trying to figure it out and asking those important questions of, do you want to do something in life that completely rules your life, or do you want to do something that you can come home and forget about it? And, you know, like, I love having those conversations because they're so important. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of life you want to have. And so, Battletech. That's the kind of life I want to have.
I want to be a mech jock. Yeah, it's just, and it brings me back to where we're watching the second movie of Expendables, and they had Dolph Lundgren was in there, and they were talking, and he said, "Do you realize this guy's got a master's degree from MIT?" And he said, "Yeah, it's no big deal, type of thing." When actually, I think he has a doctorate from of chemistry from MIT. He's actually a brainiac.
But, yeah, Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah,
I heard he's very smart. Yeah,
he's got. I think he's a dual doctorate or something. And everybody thinks he's a big dummy. Like, no, he's a genius.
Yeah, I have to watch that. I'll have to hunt that down. I know it's not new anymore. Is that from the 90s or 2000s? The original
2000s. There's three of them. The first one was all right. The second one's they're pretty good, and they just keep expanding, get more and more of the action movies guys from into it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look them up on IMDb or whatever it is, and you can see each one movie, which ones, all the actors they have in each one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a movie guy, which you are, and you want to have 3 nights where you can just kick back and watch gratuitous violence, there you go. Except the military guy in me kept watching the movies. Like, oh, these guys are military experts. They wouldn't be doing that. And my wife would chime in. They're just doing it because the director told them to do it. It's like, but they wouldn't do it anyway.
Yeah. So how's you're sitting pretty good with your work from tonight?
Yeah. Now I'm just going to take a lot of this one here. It's going to take concentration because I got to figure out where exactly I want to put all the brass.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like brass on my miniatures because it adds a nice little bit of. I just binged John Wick movies.
It's funny because I just started watching them because I actually never, like I was talking to you about it, I'd never seen them, and so then I watched them. I watched 3 of them. I don't know how many there are now, but
yeah, there's 3.
Okay,
got number 4 is coming out in March.
Yeah, I thought they were good. I thought they were all pretty good. I if I remember correct, I felt like the third one dropped off a little bit, if I remember correct. But the first one was definitely my favorite of the 3, and I like the second one. Third one I thought was good, but I'd have to say, as much as it was enjoyable, I'm not sure that it was starting to slip a little bit for me. But
yeah, the third one where he takes his journey to find the person in charge above the table,
mm-hmm.
and gets reinstated, where he has to go kill his friend, Winston, and then he's like, "I want you to execute Winston." And he's like, "Nah, I don't think so." This means war. I'm very good at war.
Benny Warman says John Wick is a PETA poster boy, laughing LMAO if they just didn't kill his dog. Yes.
You can whip me, you can beat me, but don't touch the dog. All over a dog? You did all this because of a dog? And obviously you're not a pet person.
Yeah.
I still think they need to come out with a extended cut or a 3-box set that has a kill counter that goes up in the corner. It's like up in the corner. You're sitting there going, it's like ching, 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 ching.
That would be interesting.
Every time you kill somebody, ching, it's like there's a rattle them off, and then at the end of the movie, all of a sudden, kicking high score. Because every movie is a higher score.
Yeah. speaking of being into movies, I'm not sure if I told you this, but like I think both we have you probably have still used CD and book places, used
Yeah,
bookstores that
about once a week we have the thing called Redbox, where you
yeah.
actually go online, select a movie, rent it, go physically to the booth, pick it up, and it kicks the disc out, be it Blu-ray or actual CD, DVD, and then bring it back and watch it on the big screen, which is right there.
But you have do you have used bookstores anymore? Like where you
Yeah.
go in and buy? So by us, we have a used bookstore that also has like CDs and movies and video
Yep.
games too. And I don't go frequently, but because they do buy those things back, I have to because I have a wall of movies and CDs, like just and from many years of both my wife and I before we knew each other and since then, collected. And I'm going through and I'm thinning out my movies and CDs, actually, just stuff that I don't listen to or watch anymore that never really make it to the player, you know, that for whatever reason that I don't want. And then it'll give me some room to actually put more in. So it's never something I've ever done. I've never sold back stuff, and that's why I have so much. But there are certain things that just even that I just ended up there that I don't want anymore.
We got a thing called Half Price Bookstore here in Des Moines, and I go there every once in a while. Usually, it's like I'll have it. It's right next door to where I have my doctor's appointment, which is like 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
And I'll get done with my appointment and run over there and check through and I'll hit the historical section and I'll hit the sci-fi section, fantasy, and see if there's any books that I don't have and might be buy one or two. And they do have a record section, but most of the things are like $30 or something nowadays. But and one time my daughter had a whole bunch of books and she was like, oh, let's see what I can get from. So we had carry a big box, and they went through everything. It was like, well, we'll buy everything for you we'll give you $1.50 for everything.
Yeah, I know it's not a lot,
and I was like, no, I'll keep everything.
Well, and that's the thing is, if there's any chance I'm going to watch it again, and if I liked it at all, I'll keep it. But I have stuff that I got out of like the dollar bin, whatever, at the supermarket that I never really ended up wanting to watch in the end. And then I also have stuff that I've watched that I never want to see again. And so I have a few handfuls that I could probably do with that. And then that's valuable real estate because now, you know, I'm a little more choosy as I've gotten older, and the stuff that I actually would buy, you know, to put in there. I usually only buy something if it really deserves to be there in the collection. And so that's kind of why I'm looking at thinning out. But you're right. It's not because I'm planning on making money, like a lot of money. It's more that at the most I could, you know, get one or two from there, you know, that I haven't seen or whatever that I want to, or that I've seen that I want to have as part of the collection.
Yeah. Most of the time it's like you go through it. There have been a few times my son, you know, would be with me and he's like, oh, they got this video game, and we'd buy the video game and install it, and it'd be halfway through it, and it'd go, you know, quit working because it's something wrong. It's like, well, take it back and say this thing is defective. And they're like, well, sorry, you paid for it. There's no take backs. But
well, you know, movies. All right, so maybe this is just here, but music, physical media from music, I find a lot of it is not only rare that I want to get, but really pricey.
Yeah.
So even CDs, I was looking at a CD from a 90s album today that was by a major group, and it was like $67 on Amazon for a CD. Whereas I can go into a used place like that and potentially get one in good condition, you know, potentially and for a good price, because it doesn't generally cross over into those environments. And so movies I have not, although there are movies that follow that path, it's less so. I think more people stream music than I could be wrong, because I know with Netflix and everything we all stream stuff, but I do think that for whatever reason music works on a different price range than movies. I don't know why that is.
Well, nowadays it seems that physical like albums and CDs are not as popular as they used to be.
Sure.
People don't want to have the player or figure out a way to make them work. You know?
Yeah.
Cars used to come with a CD player.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't now.
Right.
Oh, Tim's heading out.
Yeah. See you, Tim. Thanks for stopping by. Russian mafia boss of John Wick 1. Oh, yes. Here we go. Wasn't the son of the Russian mafia boss the guy who played Theon Greyjoy in Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Russian mafia boss 1, and he goes, yes. Mel says, people buying records and CDs, etc., just for collections seem to push the prices up in some venues, aka Amazon.
Yeah.
And I'm not... I collect, but I collect to listen. Like I don't collect. Like I'm not the kind of person that. It's funny. I had this conversation with somebody at work recently. They were talking about how they wanted to buy for their husband a vinyl. They don't have a record player anymore, but they were looking at getting one. You know, as like a hobby thing. And they were like, they wanted to buy an original pressing of a vinyl of a particular group. You know, the first edition, brand new. And it was apparently like thousands of dollars.
Typically it is nowadays.
Yeah. And I've never done that. And I have no plans on doing that. And I don't have a problem for other people to do it. But it's just, for me, I don't collect like that. Like as like a piece of property that is, you know, like something I like and something I can resell and like something like that. Like I will get it to listen to it. And it being a vinyl album, I know that it deteriorates as you listen to it. And so usually those kind of things you don't want to listen to because you don't want it to deteriorate. So for me, my collection is a collection of things that are of a price point that I can use. And so I can put the album on and listen to it and not feel like I'm ruining $1,000, $2,000 album. Like, and so if I spend $50 Canadian, you know, or 55 on like a nice issue, you know, of, I did this with one of Chicago, the first album. I'll listen to it still, even though I've spent a bit of coin on it, but I don't do that often, even that. But it's always to listen to it. Like I have to listen to it.
Now, for me, back in the day, I would buy the albums, but I had a stereo system with the dual cassette deck, you know, so I would play the album, record it over to the cassette.
Yeah.
And then I'd just throw the cassette in the car. And the cassettes, you know, we're talking $1 or $2 per cassette for a high quality one. And I would have.
Did you say per cassette?
Say what?
Did you say per cassette? Is that a slip there?
The per cassette special? Yeah.
Well.
But yeah, it was. I still have a lot of my albums were only played once, maybe.
Oh, what Mel was saying is, what I mean is the places like Amazon and eBay push the price up because they know collectors will pay it. I think that's probably true. Those kind of collectors don't care what price it is. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, he's probably right. You're probably right.
We have a local radio guy that does a talk show, and he's on for a couple of hours on the local channel in the morning. And I listen to him, and he has a guy come on once a week that talks about all the different music, you know, Mr. Money something, or record or something. And he'll say, oh, this album, if you find this album in your collection, it has to be this specific with this sleeve on it.
This year.
Of, you know, this edition. And it's maybe worth $500. It might be $1,000 or $10,000, depending how popular the band was. So, you know, you get people that, you know, you got massive amounts of expendable cash. Let's say I won the recent, not Powerball, but Mega Millions. It was like $1.3 billion or something. Say you won that. So now you're sitting at $750 million in your pocket after taxes. And you're like, what are you going to do with it? A lot of people just like, hey, I can outfit a stereo room with all the thousands of albums I always wanted, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, you can get certain things on Amazon really cheap. Like if the album is really popular and bought a lot to this day, like let's say Fleetwood Mac Rumors, like one of their biggest albums, you can still get that for a really good price. It's when it starts to become a little rare that the prices just go really high. And it may be that they're driven up like by the company. But there's things like Discogs, which are like people like that I use it occasionally. And it's a program and app that puts collectors and record stores and owners of stuff around the world in contact with each other. And it has all the data. You can search for whatever you're looking for, whatever pressing, whatever you want. Like you could be as lenient in what you were trying to find or as critical in the way you search and filter. And you can generally get things cheaper. I found so far. I found that by going to eBay or Amazon as compared to Discogs, I got a Robert Palmer CD that was just unattainable, like, you know, on eBay and Amazon very easily on Discogs. A new one, not even used or anything. I don't believe.
Still in the sleeve or still in the plastic wrapper.
Yeah. And so you can get really cool things with it. I recommend that site if anybody's really into it. Minnie Warmut says, bring back the 8-track. I can hear the clunk noise when pushing the button for next song.
I got a bunch of 8-tracks because my first car I had an 8-track player in it.
So did mine.
Well, my parents had an 8-track player, and I had a 8-track stereo player in my house, in my bedroom. So everything was either album or 8-track.
Well, my first car was an old car, so even though it was late 80s, I had a 78 Buick Regal coupe, kind of two-door coupe, and it came with an 8-track. And my mom gave me a bunch of her 8-tracks because I had an 8-track player. So I had Changes Bowie was the one I remember that I had actually that I really liked. But I must say, as much as that seems nostalgic, I very quickly replaced it with an Alpine cassette deck. This was before CDs, I'm pretty sure, or at least CDs. At the time. It wasn't before CDs, but it was actually before they were common in a car stereo. Yeah. I had a cassette you could slip in that had the cord that came out of it that would go into my Sony disc player. With a vibration thing that connected on the bottom. I had the
same one.
Yeah, it had the vibration thing that, you know, like you could put on your car, and so you skip. And so, but the funny thing was, I bought that car for $500, and I bought the actual. Within a year, I bought the stereo for $500 too, and so I had a stereo that was worth as much as the car.
Did you put just like then you turn around and you put $300 worth of speakers in the back? You rip out the old speakers and put the new ones in.
Oh, I still had the original speakers. I never.
And a 100 watt amp on the bottom. It's like you push the button, and kick that bitch up.
I never went that far, but I had a nice stereo, and it was one of the kinds you could slip out, like, you know, so you brought it with you, you know, so.
Clark,
those are the days. I had sheepskin covers on my bucket seats. 750 mil. My pile of shame would grow exponentially.
But for that kind of money, I would have painting. Get a lot of commissions done. It's like, hey, send them off to painting companies and have them just done for me.
Yeah. Well, we've got Mel says, my brother has a crap ton of 8-tracks. Looks like Clark is heading out. Goodbye, Clark. Thanks for stopping by. And I was going to say, I know like we're probably just a few minutes before 10, but I'm probably going to need to get going too. I think we've ended the show on a really fun alternate topic of music and movies, like, you know, us. And so we do a lot of other stuff besides, but tonight we were pretty much wargaming, I think, most of the night. Wargaming stuff. So thanks everybody for stopping by. I hope you guys got some work done on things that you might have been working on, and it's been fun as usual. BattleTech and BattleTech down the hatch, and we will see you guys most likely in a couple of weeks over at Rusty's channel.
Yeah, because 2 weeks from now, today's the 19th, would be 1st or 2nd, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out. We'll go out. So.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Good seeing everybody, and talk to you later.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you in a couple.